Hello everybody, Average Gamer here. Welcome to Let's Talk. In this episode, PSR and how I think it should be changed. So this is actually my second time recording. The first time I didn't have my recording software turned on. So hopefully this one turns out a lot better. So right now, if you don't know how PSR works, basically it works up in three ways. In a match, you have three possible outcomes. Your pilot skill ranking goes down. Your pilot skill ranking does not change, or your pilot skill rating goes up. So, on your main screen here on the left, below your name and your title, is your skill ranking. You can actually make it smaller or bigger if you want to. So, obviously as it goes up, your pilot skill rank, your overall skill goes up. Highest rank is rank 1, lowest rank is rank 5. Now, win or loss, you have the ability to go up or down or not move. The way it mostly works is this. In a win, if you get, I believe it's above a score of 80, your PSR goes up. The higher your score, the higher it goes up by. Now, below 80 in a win, it doesn't move. It just stays. In a loss, if you get a score below 250, I believe, it goes down. If you get if you get a score of 200, I think it's a score of 250 or lower, your score goes down no matter what. If it's between 250 and I think, this is going to possibly be off or so, but I think around 800 or 900, it stays even, and anything above that, I believe it goes up. Like I said, I've only had it gone up maybe once or twice in a loss, so I can't remember the exact numbers, and I've been running around all weekend, so I haven't had the chance to Google it. But nonetheless, it can go up. It's just basically the way it's set up is this: in a win, as long as you contribute to the win, your PSR goes up. Now, according to your score, it goes up by an incremental amount, which they haven't shared with us. In a loss, it's the same way except reversed, right? The lower your score, the more it goes down. The higher your score, the less it goes down. So, the way it's set up here is this. Also, in a loss, if you do very, very well, or if you do good, basically a score of 200 or higher, 250 or higher, if you did really, really good and you carried the team and did a lot of damage or what have you, you were the standout on the team most likely, which means your PSR doesn't move. You're good. You're laughing. You're happy. You're fine. You're good to go. If you were that person that did, 1,300 damage, 3 or 4 kills, blah, 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 your PSR is pretty much going to go up. So, with that in mind, I realized something. That's you. That's you, the pilot. I had a match the other night. It was a Tier 1, Tier 2 match. Pretty much everyone was in Tier 1 or Tier 2. We were playing and all that stuff. But as we drop, guy mentions in our lands, hey guys, can you just kind of watch me a little bit, support me a little bit more. This is the first time I've ever been in a dire wolf. Right there, that flew up red flags to me. That told me right there that we're already handicapped because we have someone that's never driven a mech that they've driven before. We have someone that's not as skilled as everyone else. So everyone else is probably driving a mech that they play with all the time. Now, I also looking at my end going, well, there's certain mechs I haven't played in like 9-10 months, a year. What if I were to hop into one of those? Like, I'm still in a Tier 2 match, Tier 1 match. That's really not fair to my team. It's really not fair to the people I'm playing with. That it says I'm this high of a tiered player, but if I play in a different mech, or a mech I haven't played with, I'm technically not. So here's the way I thought of it. The mechs themselves. Have your abilities in said mech go up tier levels in association with you as a pilot. So the pilots themselves have 5 skill rankings. Okay, still the same way it is. Tiers 1 through 5, as is. But then, there's an additional ranking associated with the mechs themselves. Now, I'm not talking about tier 1 through 10 like it is in World of Tanks or anything like that. But what I'm talking about is your efficiency in the mech itself. how you play it, and all that stuff. And how it can be calculated is this. It basically looks at the amount of XP you've earned in that mech. If you've earned a lot of XP in that mech, then it knows you've played that mech a lot. You should be proficient at it. You've played it a lot. You're good at it. As you play with that mech, you level that mech up, right? You use the skills and the XP you learn to unlock additional parts of the mech. You know, speed tweak, pinpoint accuracy, faster shooting, all that stuff. But that shouldn't affect the level of the mech. So think of the PSR, but with the mech itself. Almost like a, I don't want to say win-loss, but it looks at everything on your mech. How often you shoot the weapons. It'll look at how often you actually hit someone. Like with my PPCs here, I miss half the time. I am not the best when it comes to this thing, and I miss, like I said, half my shots with my PPCs. And I do 600-700 damage in this summoner right here, for example. The way I look at it is, it will probably look at that and go, well, hold on. My efficiency with this thing is not the greatest. I'm not the best at this mech. When it comes to utilizing the mech, my win-loss ratio is, you know, say whatever. On top of that, I shoot my PPCs X amount of times, and I only hit a target Y amount of times. There. My kill death loss with this mech is blank. So it'll look at all this information and crank it down, and we'll still use a scale of 1 to 10, and we'll tell you, hey, you have this type of kill death, this type of win-loss, this type of actual hitting percentage of your weapons. Now you have multiple types of weapons on your mech. It looks at all of them and averages it out. So say I have PPCs and ER large lasers. ER large lasers, it's click and point. You should hit those things no matter what. It's like almost 100%. You see someone, you hit a button, you hit them. Unless they're running and you miss them the entire time. Now, a couple things this will also help too is people firing willy-nilly at the beginning of the match for no reason. I've lost my back armor on multiple occasions over the weekend for people starting in a match, hitting the Alpha Strike button just to see what will happen, and not realizing that they're the back of the lance, and kill someone in front of them. It's happened multiple occasions. Multiple occasions I saw this weekend while playing with friends. Multiple times too, I saw people just shooting willy-nilly as well. So, friendly fire damage as well is going to be a factor. The more friendly fire damage you get, the more of a negative impact it'll have. So overall, it looks at how you actually pilot that mech. How good you are at that mech. How much damage you take in that mech. With it before, like in general, how much damage do you take in it? That tells you right there how good you are at maneuvering. If you take tons and tons of damage, and you don't have that many deaths, you have a kill death ratio of say plus 1, plus 2, and you take, you know, tons and tons of damage. That tells the PSR, the system right there, they move around a lot, they take damage and they soak up a lot of damage, but they're also killing a lot of people. So they're actually really, really good. Then their win-loss, look at that, they have a positive win-loss. That's another little modifier to put them up another rank or what have you. They barely ever miss. They have a 95% hit rate with their weapons. Nice. What weapons are those? Look at that. It's ballistics. It's PPCs. It's Gauss. It's, wow, look at that. Different types of weapons. Even some point-and-click weapons. You know, so it looks at everything. It looks at all the abilities of your mech and you as a pilot of that chassis. That's right, the chassis. Not the variants, the chassis itself. So the summoner variant, the summoner chassis here, for example, you can skill up your pilot proficiency of that as well. Now, the way they can reward people for this is simply by giving you as a pilot additional efficiencies when you pilot certain mechs that you piloted for a long period of time. So you put it at X amount of games. So at 1,000 games in a summoner here, I've learned a torso twist just a little bit better than everybody else. So my torso twist, or I should have by then, or I've piloted, right? So I've turned left, I've turned right tons, and 1,000 matches, God knows how many times I've turned left and right. So it looks and goes, well, your torso twist now actually goes an extra point or an extra 5% faster on a summoner. Specifically a summoner M. Because you had 1,000 matches on your summoner M. Okay, cool. So play a little bit more with my summoner, maybe another 1,000 matches, another 200 matches. You get, better number, whatever. X amount of matches. It's like, hey, you fire your weapons a lot. Like, a lot, and you miss. We're going to give you a cooldown of 2%. So your weapons are going to fire 2% faster. Or more often. So it's a couple more rounds down range in a match. Nothing too crazy, but enough. After a couple hundred more matches, it looks at all the numbers and goes, huh. Since we reduced that cool, you've been firing a lot more. It looks like you've been practicing. And it looks like your PPCs have been hitting a lot more. That tells us right there that you've been utilizing your ability to, shoot more, which means you've been paying more attention to that. Your PPC abilities have gone up a little bit better. So both your PPC cooldown, your PPC velocity has gone up by 2%. And have little things like that, or even have it so that every X amount of matches, you get two different options. Almost like pilot quirks for that specific mech. For you, only on that mech. It's, hey, do you want to pick A or B? And they're always random. But they're always something efficient. So, you play 200 matches in the summoner here, and all of a sudden it pops up and it's like, hey, you were ranked 10. Guess what? Hey, you've ranked up to rank 9. You get to unlock a pilot quirk for this mech. What kind of quirk would you like? Speed? Or in this case, it's random, so it'd do, I don't know, energy heat dissipation and speed tweak. So it's like, do I want to go faster? Or do I want to bleed off a little bit of heat or do I want to take in a little bit more heat from the surrounding area around me? I guess that means in a hot map, I go hotter. And a cold map, I go colder. Or I can take speed tweak and go an extra, and in this case, since it's a pilot one, it's like small amounts, only like 2%. Or I can go 2% faster. You know what? I like to fire my weapons a lot. Heat is a really big thing, so I'm going to take the heat efficiency. Boom. Play a bunch more home matches, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, guess what? You ranked up to level 9 with your Summoner M. Here's two more things to pick randomly. PPC cooldown or PPC range. One or the other. So, do I want to be able to reach out and touch someone a lot farther? Or do I want to be able to fire more rounds? The range is an extra 5% to your range. And the cooldown is 5% cooldown. So as you rank up, you unlock these things. As you rank down, so if you start doing bad, you lose them as well. There's the ability to lose them, which I think is a good thing. It makes you stay up at those levels. It makes you try harder. It makes you play harder. It also makes you play a specific mech. Now, what'll happen is you'll play a mech, you get it into tier 1, you'll have 10 different quirks on it. You'll be playing with other guys that are really efficient with this mech, playing with 10 quirks as well. Modded mech, obviously with modules and all that stuff. So you're going to be playing against people that are really good with really good robots. If you're at the very bottom, you're playing with people that are playing with out-of-the-box robots with weapons, systems, and they'll still have mods most likely, but it'll be a little harder. And on the bright side, you won't have that thing where they have now where it's a tier 1, tier 2 match. Someone starts, they're in tier 1 or tier 2, and it's like, hey guys, just so you know, I've never played in this mech before, so can you guys carry me? Because believe me, that happens more often than not, and I think in my eyes, two things should happen. Number one, pilot skill ranking associated with the pilot themselves, so the PSR is good. That says the pilot themselves is good. There's a natural affinity people get when playing the game after a while where you actually get good at the game itself. And then, obviously, there's certain chassis and stuff like that that you may not be good at. So people only play the one kind of chassis, right? Well, now you change it up a little bit and throw in, obviously, not only now is there the PSR for the overall pilot skill ranking, But now there's the chassis skill ranking, with the CSR. That rates you on how well you are with a chassis. And you multiply the two together, right? So if you're tier 1 of each, well, you're just in tier 1. If you're in tier 1 of one and 2 in the other, right? So you can actually like string out all these now and be like, okay, well, hold on. Each chassis itself has 10 tiers. So it's 10 tiers per chassis. And then there's the 5 tiers for the pilot. So that itself makes it really, really crazy when you think about it. Now, the pilot themselves, it ranks up, win-loss is how they do. If you win, it goes out, the same ways it works out now. The way the chassis works is it looks at your stats with that mech. It looks at your win-losses. It looks at your weapon efficiencies. It'll look at every single thing on that mech. See truly just how good you are with it, and everyone will say, the community would be able to be like, here's the deal. You should be able to, here is the benchmarks, right? KD of this, overall average match score of this. This should be 1, and obviously 0, 10 would be the worst anyways. But once everyone sets at the highest, what will be tier 1 in a mech? How much damage should you be able to do? And then every mech itself would be different, obviously. Now, it won't be doing, 1,300 damage like in my Summoner here every single match. No, it'd be an overall average. So by the time you're in tier 1 on a Summoner, you might still be, tier 3 in PSR, for example. Because just because you've played a mech a long time, still doesn't mean you're that good. So that is that little rant, I guess, on PSR, and what I think should be swept up a little bit. So see you guys next time. Bye-bye.